Open your Bible up to 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings chapter 4. And we're going to be reading from verse 18 all the way to verse... where was I? Verse 18 all the way to verse 37. Verse 18 to verse 37 of 2 Kings chapter 4. Tonight, we're talking about the language of faith. The language of faith. We are wrapping up the faith series within the 30 days of favor. We're wrapping up the faith series, and if you ask me, I feel like the faith series should have been a lot longer because there is still so much more to say. But stay tuned for what's coming after these 30 days. 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings chapter 4. Day 29. It's day 28. Day 28. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 18. And our subject for tonight is speak the language of faith. Speak the language of faith. Of course, if you do have it, I highly recommend that you have yourself a copy of Unlocking Favor with God and People. Really important. Tonight I want to speak to you about learning how to speak the language of faith. Learning how to speak the language of faith. You see, faith has a language in the same way that doubt has a language, in the same way that fear has a language. Unbelief has a language and belief has a language. So tonight, we're going to look at the story of the Shunammite woman in 2 Kings chapter 4. And we're going to learn from her how to speak the language of faith. I couldn't even make myself tea when I got in because I had to run in and come sit right here on this chair. Can somebody make me tea, please? Thanks. And let me know when it's done. Here's what it says. Okay. So to give you some context before we read, to give you some context here, there is a woman who is the Shunammite woman on, I forget which day it is exactly, but when we spoke about, was it day one? I think it was on day one. Yeah, it was on day one that we spoke about the Shunammite woman. When we spoke about the power of God's presence, we also got into the story of the Shunammite woman. And this woman was said to be a well-to-do woman. She was okay. She had everything going for herself. She could buy her own wings and she could buy her own bags. She was good. She was married to a man who apparently, or rather clearly seemed to have been a much older man than she was. But this woman was a hospitable woman. She was an amazing woman. And one day she decides that she wants to create room in her house for the man of God, Elisha, so that whenever he comes by, he won't just eat by their house, but he will also have a room to stay if he needs to stay the night. And so they go ahead and do that. And then Elisha, after this woman has shown her kindness, he decides to say, listen, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Because you've done all of this for us. It would be nice for us to do something for you. Just name it and we'd like to do it for you. And she kind of hesitates at first. She's like, you know what? I'm okay. I have everything I need. I don't need anything. I've got my people. I've got everything I need. And then the man of God finds out that she doesn't have a child. And the man of God says, you will have a child this time next year. This time next year, you will hold a child in your hands. And her first response is, man of God, don't deceive me. Don't deceive me. Don't let me get my hopes up. Some of us are there right now. Some of you have been disappointed so many times in your journey that you've gotten to a point where you just stopped expecting because you think it's better to not expect anything because you are never disappointed. And so your life is just one event after another that just happens to you. It just happens to you, right? You've gotten over the expectation phase. You just let things happen as they wish to, and you just believe that it's the cards you were dealt. However, I will tell you this, my friend: if you never decide what you want, you will always get what you don't want. So now we pick it up where this woman went ahead and had a child, even though she thought she didn't want a child. She went ahead and had a child, and after she had a child, the child continues to grow a little bit. And then while the child was still young, one day the child says, my head, he's got a little headache, and then he ends up dying on the arms of his mother. That's not easy. We pick it up there at verse 18. Verse 18, it says, when the child was grown, the day came that he went out to his father to the reapers. He said to his father, my head. And he said to his servant, carry him to his mother, because mom knows everything. When he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her lap until noon and then died. She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God and shut the door behind him and went out. Very important. She went and laid him on the bed of the man of God. Remember, this is the same man of God who made the promise in the first place. And it's the same man of God who has a room in her house. There came a point where this woman extended her house just so that she could have a room for the man of God. And now, when the child that was promised by the man of God dies, she returns the child to the same place where the promise was made. She goes back to that very same place where she received the promise, and she says, this cannot be it. This cannot be it. Now remember, according to her and according to you and I, the child is dead. However, it says, then she called to her husband and said, please send me one of the servants and one of the donkeys that I may run to the man of God and return. He said, why will you go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, it will be well. I want you to put that in the comment section. It will be well. Put that in your notebook as well. Then she saddled a donkey and went and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Do not slow down the pace for me unless I tell you. So she went and came to the man of God to Mount Carmel. When the man of God saw her at a distance, he said to Gehazi his servant, behold, there is the Shunammite. Please run now to meet her and say to her, is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. It is well. When she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught hold of his feet. And Gehazi came near to push her away, but the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is troubled within her. Let me say that again. Her soul is troubled within her. Her soul is troubled within her. This seems like such a contradiction from what she said when she was asked if everything was okay. When she was asked if everything was okay, she said, "It is well." When her husband asked if everything is okay, instead of announcing the death of her child even to her husband, she says, "It is well," or rather, "It will be well." So there are two different dimensions to this. And some of us might be at the point of our faith right now where we have to say it will be well because it hasn't quite sunk in yet. We don't yet see it, but we can say confidently it will be well. It will be well. And some of us need to get to the point where we say it is well. Even before you see it. Even while it doesn't look like it is well. She says it is well. Even when it doesn't look like everything is all together, it is. All is well. Remember when we started talking about the power of faith, I told you, it is not lying. It is not denying reality. It is affirming a higher reality. It is accepting a higher reality. So I am not rejecting reality as it is right now. I am not denying reality as it is right now. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why I'm in pain. That's the reason why I'm hurting. But when I speak and affirm a different reality, it is not me being in denial. It is me reaching for a different reality to the one that I am seeing right now. And if you know me, you will know that there have been times when I have warned you against this idea of calling it like it is. We don't call it like it is. Because a sure way to make sure that your circumstances never change is to continue to call them what they are. If you continue to call your circumstances as they are right now, you will get more of the same. You will see more of the same. You will experience more of the same. So I'll give you an example. You wake up in the morning, and when somebody wakes up in the morning and early in the morning, something happens, a minor inconvenience, and immediately they say it's going to be a bad day. Can't believe I started the day like this. It's going to be a bad one. And then throughout the day, they will continue to find reasons to have a bad day. They will continue to find it. And listen, we are very good. We are very good at speaking the language of fear, the language of doubt, the language of unbelief, the language of sickness, the language of lack, the language of poverty. Most of us are very good at speaking that language. We are very good. What do I mean by this? Have you noticed that when you're not okay, you are so good at describing how you feel? Listen, when you are not good, you are so good at describing how you feel. If everything is okay and I say, "How are you?" "I'm okay, thank you." Or maybe you might say, "I'm blessed, thank you. How are you?" And if I catch you on a bad day, "How are you?" "Yo, Mario, come okay." And then come and then this, and then yo, and then yo. And then when that state that we are in, when that situation that we are in worsens, we assume that it was meant to worsen anyway, that it is indeed the natural progression. But that is not the natural progression of circumstances. It doesn't have to be. Listen, sometimes something bad can happen right now and you can cut that cycle immediately. You can end it right where it is. Listen, you end it right there. And you say, I choose a different reality from what I am seeing right now. What do I mean by this? Well, see, what I'm trying to tell you is, for many of us, for many of you listening right now, here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is something bad will happen here. And the trap that we fall into is that when we talk about our lives, we talk about our lives as they are. But however, what we don't realize is that we are projecting this reality into our future as well. Right? We project the current reality into the future as well. So how do we speak the language of faith? Let me ask you this. Your life as it is right now, would you want to see the same reality projected in tomorrow? If not, then you change how you speak of it. Then you change what you confess about it. Because yes, it might look like it is bad, and yes, you might feel like you are just keeping it real and you are just being authentic. But don't fall for that. Because very often what you are doing is you are just projecting the same thing into tomorrow. You know what we do? We take the most powerful the most powerful two words ever spoken, the most powerful two words that we can utter out of our mouth. We say, I am. And we follow that up with sickness. We follow that up with lack. We follow it up with poverty. And guess what happens? That state hardens in our lives. It solidifies. And life just continues in the same cycle. In the same cycle. Right? So this woman says, it will be well. And then later on she says, it is well. And then later on we find out that she was actually troubled in her soul. Right? She was troubled in her soul. But despite how she was feeling, despite the state of her emotions at the moment, she was still able to utter the words and say, it is well. It is not to say that she wasn't hurt. Yes, she cried. I would even dare to say that she wept. But I will say to you, my friend, do not be too quick. Listen, let me put it to you this way. Avoid premature death announcements. Avoid premature death announcements. I don't know if any of you have those family members who start making funeral arrangements while somebody is still in hospital. They make me so uncomfortable. You got one, maybe you are one of those. But I remember it would make me feel very uncomfortable when I hear people start to talk about where they're gonna bury somebody who's still alive. You people are weird. Right? You people are weird. Now I'm telling you, listen, I know people who, while the person is still alive, he said he wants to be buried by the... So what are we gonna do? Right? I've seen it, and I would get so uncomfortable. Because what do you mean? Listen, here's what I'm saying. Most of us do this with many of the different circumstances in our lives. the different circumstances in our lives. Many of us do the same thing. We do the same thing. Perhaps it is not as extreme as someone's life, right? But as soon as the situation is a bit tricky, we say, it's over. As soon as it looks like time is running out, it's over. Listen, when it looks like you are running out of time, we couldn't do it. And then there is the Caleb or the Joshua among us who says, no, but we still have 2 weeks. What can happen in 2 weeks? Can't do this in 2 weeks, man. And somebody says, no, but you are still 32. It's over for me. That's what we do. I've heard people make premature death announcements about their marriages. Right? But I can tell what if it nah, this one is done. It's just left for us to just call the pastor and I've heard people prematurely announce the death of their businesses. They had a failure that hit them so hard. And when that failure hit them, they just stayed down. Obviously, some people will some people will hear rumors in the office corridors that they're planning on retrenching, and they figure themselves in there. They figure themselves among the ones who are being retrenched. They are retrenching. Pray for me because I think it will be me. I think it's me. We do that. We do that. It's not just that auntie that makes funeral arrangements while the people are still alive. It's also us. Right? Premature death announcements. The language of unbelief. The language of fear. The language of doubt. Right? That's what it is. And then what happens is, when it comes to pass, we say, you see. I think I'm a prophet. No, you're not prophet or nothing. As you didn't see anything coming. You did not see anything coming. It is the fact that your circumstances move in the direction of your strongest beliefs. And those beliefs start as words, and then they come out, or rather they start as thoughts, and then they come out as words, and then all of a sudden it is circumstances. You need to learn how to speak the language of faith. Listen, learn how to speak the language of faith. Calling things that are not as though they were. Wherever you go, whatever it is. Let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper. In day 28 of unlocking favor with God and people, That's where we're speaking about speak the language of faith. Opens up with verse 26, verse 26 of 2 Kings chapter 4, right? Where this woman's husband says, "Is everything okay?" And she says, "It will be all right," or "It will be well." What do you say in a moment of what you say in a moment of crisis reveals what you really believe. Oh, sorry, I missed it. I missed the kiss. I was looking down. Send another one. What you say in a moment of crisis reveals what you really believe. When pressure is applied, the contents of the heart spill out through the mouth. That's why today I want to talk to you about the language of faith. The way you speak while you wait, while you're in pain, and while you're believing. The way you speak while you wait, while you're in pain, and while you're still believing. Do you know that many of us are waiting to change our language when everything falls into place? When we have it all together, that's when we think we'll speak about it differently. And that's why we never get there. Because faith doesn't just live in your heart. Faith also lives in your mouth. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 13. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 13. It is written, I believed, therefore I have spoken. I believed, therefore I have spoken. Since we have the same spirit of faith, we also believe and therefore speak. In other words, my words are a reflection of my deepest beliefs. And that's why, my friend, I'll tell you this. That's why when you have people around you, if you have somebody who is always accidentally saying something inappropriate, believe them. Believe them. If you have somebody who is always saying something that they don't mean, believe them. I believed, and therefore I spoke. Listen, I wish I had a bottle here. When you shake it up, when you shake up a bottle of water that has dirt laying at the bottom, oh, you'll see. You'll see. And then the bottle will then go on and say, oh no, I didn't mean that. That's you. That's what's in there. Her son was dead, but her words weren't. Let's go to the story of the Shunammite woman in 2 Kings chapter 4. A wealthy, wise woman who honored the prophet Elisha by building a room for him to rest in whenever he passed through town. One day, Elisha prophesied that she would have a son. She did. The boy grew up healthy, but one day he complained of a headache in the field and later died in his mother's arms. It was a moment that would have broken most people, but this woman did something remarkable. She laid the boy on Elisha's bed, called for a donkey, and told her servant, don't slow down unless I tell you. She was on a mission, and her words were carefully chosen. Right there in the comment section, I want you to put that down. Choose your words carefully. Choose your words carefully. It will be well. Her husband saw her preparing to leave and asked, "Why go to the man of God today?" Her response, "It will be well." She didn't break down. She didn't say, "Our son is dead." She didn't blame him. She didn't even cry out for help. She spoke what she believed, not what she saw. She spoke what she believed, not what she saw. And that is why later on what she believed would become what she saw. We're together, right? What you believe becomes what you see. But if all you ever speak is what you see, then what you see continues into your future, into your destiny. Speak what you believe, not what you see. And then she said, "It is well." When she got closer to Elisha, he sent his servant Gehazi to meet her. In 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 26, "Are you all right? Is your husband all right? Is your child all right?" This was the moment her emotions could have taken over. The moment she could have unraveled, but instead she said, "It is well. It is well." How do you say it is well while your promise lies lifeless on a bed? Wow. How do you say it is well? How do you say it is well when it doesn't look well? When it indeed looks messy? You say it because you know something greater than the present moment. You know something greater than the present moment. Let me put it to you this way, and this is something that oftentimes is hard to explain to people. The moment that we are having right now has already passed. It's fine. Listen, the moment that we are having right now has already passed. See, here's the thing. Everything is spiritual. Everything. And nothing happens physically if it has not yet happened spiritually. And so you are here right now watching this. You are listening to this teaching because there is something that happened yesterday. There is something that happened in moments that passed already that led you to this point. And physical reality is simply just a shadow of something that has already happened. That's what physical reality is. The physical reality is just a shadow. And so if we want to know what is truly happening, we have to walk by faith. We have to be people who perceive things spiritually. And if we do, we will realize that this that I'm going through right now, this is already over. This is already over. This is done. It's finished. Now it's up to me to choose which future I prefer according to my faith, according to what I believe. Now I get to choose. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life. Let me put it to you this way. You are sitting here with me tonight. You are having Bible study. You are planting seeds of faith in your heart and in your mind. And these seeds, listen to me, these seeds that you are planting right now will be seen tomorrow or next week or even next year. And so when that happens, that will only be a shadow of what is happening right now in this moment on the 30th of June 2025. It will only be a shadow of it. What you've done right now is you have sent your faith ahead of you, and it prepares your future. And when you step into it, you are not walking into something that you are trying to figure out. You are walking into something that was prepared today. Today, you are busy planting seeds. And so that's why I say to you that this right here has already passed. There's nothing you can do about this very moment. This very moment is what it is. It doesn't matter what you're going through right now. It just is what it is. It's done. However, right now, you are busy sending the word of God into your tomorrow. Sitting here right now, where you are sitting right now, some of you might have said something even out loud, and you sent the word of God into your future, into the next moment, into next month, into next year. Listen, you say it because you know something greater than the present moment. You say it because your trust is not in the outcome. It is in the one who holds the outcome. You say it because you understand how powerful your words are. Faith speaks the end, not the crisis. Faith speaks the end, not the crisis. Faith doesn't repeat what. Listen, I'm going through a lot. We see you are going through a lot. Everyone knows that you are going through a lot. We look at you and we can tell that you are going through a lot. You don't need to tell us again. You don't need to keep on affirming that. That's done. There's nothing we can do about the fact that right now, we see it. We see it on you. So you need to affirm a different reality. Because right now I'm looking at you and I say, right? So you don't have to keep repeating it. You don't have to keep on over and over again declaring it, and expecting it to change. Faith speaks the end, not the crisis. You don't speak the crisis. You speak the end that you expect. The Shunammite woman didn't lie. And that's very important. She didn't lie. She wasn't denying reality. She was declaring her outcome before it happened. That's faith. Right? Faith declares the outcome before it happens. Romans chapter 4 verse 17. Romans chapter 4 verse 17 tells us that God calls things that are not as though they were. He calls things that are not as though they were. Go through some of the promises that you so love in the Word of God. And you will find out that many of those things, many of the verses that you encourage yourself with, they were spoken to people who were in circumstances that were completely different to what they were hearing. Right? For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. I can tell you right now that if you were alive at that time, going through what they were going through, you would say, you are harming me. You are harming me. Don't, you are harming me. What do you mean not to harm me? This is harm. It wasn't written to people who were experiencing that. This was not spoken to people who were already living in that promise. It was spoken to people who were in trouble, who were having a difficult life at that time. Are we together? What language are you speaking? What language are you speaking? Many people cancel their own miracles with their mouths. They speak doubt when they should speak faith. They declare defeat when they should declare victory. They rehearse the worst case scenario rather than prophesying the best case outcome. Let me say that again, because that's somebody here tonight. They rehearse the worst case scenario rather than prophesying the best case outcome. What you speak sets the tone for what you will see. What you speak sets the tone for what you will see. The thermostat and the thermometer. Your mouth can either be a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermometer tells you the temperature. It reacts to the atmosphere. It just tells you what the weather is outside and that's it. But a thermostat sets the temperature. It determines the atmosphere. Faith speaks like a thermostat. It doesn't describe what it is, it declares what will be. Are you listening? Listen, faith is not a thermometer that just tells you how things are. Faith declares what will be, not what is. Because what is just is. Listen to me once again. What is right now, it is. So what's the point of continuing to say, I'm going through it? What's the point? So the language of faith is that of a thermostat which sets the temperature, which determines the temperature, and not just tells you what it is. And when it's at 1 degree, I say, no, I want a cool, toasty 26 degrees. And we set it there. Right? Other biblical examples of faith-filled speech. The first is David and Goliath. Before David faced Goliath, he opened his mouth and prophesied the outcome. Before he faced Goliath, he opened his mouth and prophesied the outcome. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 46. He said, this day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. Then he goes on to say, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. The whole world will know. Listen, he said, the Lord will deliver you into my hands. The victory is mine today. Before he steps up to fight, before he picks up the first stone, he had already declared what the outcome would be. And many of us are waiting to see what happens, like you're not a believer, like you're not a child of God. You're just waiting to see the outcome. You're just waiting to see what happens. Hoping for the best. You call it as you want to see it. from the beginning. You don't listen. You prophesy over your own life. You prophesy over your own life. I told you that prophecy is creative. Right? It is not descriptive, it is creative. And so instead of just thinking that prophecy is going to the man of God so he can tell you what your future will be, that's called fortune telling. That's not biblical. However, when the man of God prophesies and he says to the Shunammite woman, you will have a child at this time next year. He wasn't telling her something that would have happened anyway. He is telling her something that he has now declared through his own words, and it will come to pass because he has spoken it, not because it was always going to happen. He hadn't even thrown a stone yet, but he was already speaking like he'd won. That's the language of faith. Second example is Abraham and Isaac. God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, but notice what Abraham told his servants. In Genesis 22 verse 5, Genesis 22 verse 5, he said to them, stay here. And then he says to them, me and the boy will go further. He says, we will worship and then we will come back to you. Abraham was told, go and sacrifice the boy. And for some reason, when he speaks to his servants, he says to them, me and the boy are coming back. Me and the boy are coming back. And the writer in Hebrews goes on to tell us that it was because Abraham believed that even if he killed his son, like God had commanded him, then he knew that God would bring him back to life. He said he knew that God would bring his son back to life if he sacrificed him. Because the promise of this boy's life goes way beyond where he is right now. He said, we will come back, not I will come back. He was climbing a mountain with his son to offer him as a sacrifice. And yet he spoke like both of them would return. That's the language of faith. Jesus and Lazarus is another example. When Jesus arrived at Lazarus' tomb, everyone else was mourning. But what did he say? In John chapter 11, verse 11, Jesus said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up. I am going there to wake him up. Even in the face of death, Jesus didn't change his confession. You can train your tongue. Speaking the language of faith doesn't come naturally. It must be developed intentionally. And that, my friend, is one of the most important sentences that you will read in there. Speaking the language of faith doesn't come naturally. It must be developed intentionally. It is not natural. You don't listen to somebody who is speaking the language of faith and you just say, yo, man, some people have faith, ne? No. You can train yourself to speak that language. You can train yourself to speak intentionally. To speak what aligns with the word of God. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. Proverbs 18 verse 21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death. The tongue has the power of life and death. So ask yourself today, do your words create life or drain it? Do your words create life or drain it? Do you speak in a way that aligns with what you believe or what you feel? Do you speak in a way that aligns with what you believe or what you feel? Do your declarations build expectation or fear? Do your declarations build expectation or fear? What you declare about your future, what you declare about your career, what you declare about your calling, what you declare about your children, what you declare about your marriage, does it build expectation or does it build fear? Here are some practical ways to speak the language of faith. And this is very important. Some practical ways to speak the language of faith. So you want to write this down. Number one, catch yourself. Catch yourself. When you're tempted to speak negatively, pause. Ask, is what I'm about to say faith-filled or fear-filled? Is what I'm about to say faith-filled or fear-filled? And here's the problem. The problem is you've been so conditioned to speak negatively that if you slip up about 4 times in the day, you just end up giving up. But listen, if you have to catch yourself 40 times in a day, then do it. If you have to catch yourself 100 times in the day, then do it. Every time you are tempted to say, I'm just going through a lot, you catch yourself and you shift it. You catch yourself about to say, I'm so broke right now, you shift it. You catch yourself about to declare sickness over your life and you change it. You catch yourself about to say anything negative about how you are feeling, about your life as it is right now, and you change it. You listen, catch yourself. Be intentional. And I get how frustrating it can be when you are used to just speaking negatively and letting yourself. But this is where the real work happens. That time and time again, I change it. I change it every time. I change it every time. I change it every time. I change my language every single time. Number two, speak the word. Speak the word. Replace your emotional language with scripture. Let me say that again. Replace your emotional language with scripture. In other words, that language that just describes how you're feeling, even when you are not feeling well, even when you are not feeling good. You just keep on speaking according to how you feel. Let your confession be rooted in truth, not feelings. Let what you confess be rooted in truth, not feelings. Number 3, don't vent, prophesy. Listen, don't vent, prophesy. There's a difference between being honest and being hopeless. Even in pain, declare God's faithfulness. There is a difference between being honest and being hopeless. There is a difference. You can be honest, sure. But when you begin to say things like, nothing is going right in my life, now you are just venting. And now this is not productive at all. This is going nowhere. Right? So instead of just venting, regulate your speech. Be very intentional about catching yourself so that instead of venting, you will prophesy. I'm aware of where I am right now, but this time next year. I am aware of where I am right now, but this time next week. Number 4, make declarations daily. Make declarations daily. Wake up speaking life. Say things like, I walk in favor today. Doors are opening for me. God is orchestrating divine connections. It is well with my family. Everything I touch prospers. That's the language you speak. Those are the declarations that you make every day. Right? You make such declarations. Number five. Surround yourself with faith talkers. And this, my friend, is very important. Surround yourself with faith talkers. Your language is shaped by your environment. Be around people who speak like miracles are normal. You ought to be around people who speak like miracles are normal. Let me tell you something. One of the reasons why some of you are commenting things like, I'm so glad I'm here, or I'm so glad that I tuned in tonight, or I'm so glad I came across you, or whatever. It's because I speak the language of faith. And so when you listen, there is something inside you that gets excited. There is something inside you that comes alive. Now, imagine if you had that in your life, that the people you surround yourself with speak the same language. Imagine if you surrounded yourself, that's the whole point. The whole point is that you surround yourself with people who speak the same language. Listen, let me tell you something. When you listen to me, there are times when you feel like everything is going to be all right. Listen, you can come on here feeling like you are down in the dumps. But the moment we open that Bible and we begin to speak, all of a sudden man, I can see things working out. I can see things falling in place. I can see the miracle. It's almost as if I can touch it. I feel the little droplets that let me know that a heavy rain is coming. And then from here you go on to talk to your friend Trompis. And right after you talk to him, he just, everything he says just completely ruins everything for you. Right? You go on to talk to the people in your life. You go on to talk to your brother, your sister. You go on to talk to your mom, even your dad. Yes, you love them. But the moment you speak to them, I don't know why God has forgotten us. Now there you are. And so the whole point is that you surround yourself with people who speak the language of faith. Surround yourself with such people. Imagine you call a friend and you speak the language of faith. You sit with a friend and it is the language of faith. You go on your WhatsApp and when you watch people's statuses, it is the language of faith. Your inner circle, you'll come alive. Favor flows where faith is spoken. When you learn to speak the language of faith, it changes how people respond to you too. When you learn to speak the language of faith, it changes how people respond to you too. Leaders listen more attentively. Opportunities find their way to your words. God partners with your confession to bring things to pass. Faith-filled speech is attractive. It draws both divine help and human support. It draws both divine help and human support. That's why this matters. This is how you unlock favor with God and with people. Learn to speak the language of faith. Don't just let your words run out of control, run rampage in your life. Don't let that happen. Here's our challenge for the day. Here is our challenge for the day. And remember, I told you, so for those of you, I don't know if any of you already received your journals today who are on here right now, but those of you who've already received your journal, you'll see that under day 28, you'll see some of these prompts, and there's space there for you to record that in page whatever. It's somewhere in there. Anyway, here's the challenge for the day. Identify 3 areas in your life where you've been speaking negatively. Identify 3 areas in your life where you've been speaking negatively. Write down 3 faith-filled declarations you will start saying over those areas. And it might be one area for somebody, right? It might, for somebody, it might be just one area. Doesn't matter. For somebody, it might be 10. You just don't know how to say anything positive. To you, life's always hard. So identify an area of your life where you speak negatively. It might be about your career. It might be your children. Listen, let me tell you something. I've had to correct family members before. Because when I was growing up, it was so normal to say the wildest things to a child. It was normal. Hey, one way no go go drugs. Hey banna. Hey banna. Identify that area. Some of us it's you say you want to find a partner that you will do life with. You say that you want to get married. You say that you want to you want to be found by that spouse or to find that spouse. But everything you say about that, the dating pool these days, what are you doing in a pool? What are you doing in a pool in the first place? Your husband is coming. Why are you concerned about a pool? Why? Change your language. Change your language. So, let me repeat that again. Identify 3 areas in your life where you've been speaking negatively. And then write down 3 faith-filled declarations you will start saying over each of those areas. So over every single one of those areas, you will put there a positive declaration, a faith-filled declaration, right? To say in place of that. And then here's a journaling prompt. For some more journaling for you. What have I been saying? What have I been speaking over my life? How can I shift my language to align with faith? What outcome do I need to start declaring with boldness today? What outcome do I need to declare with boldness today? Just sit down and reflect on that. Here's a final word for day 28. A final word for day 28, and as we wrap up the series on faith. The Shunammite woman's child was raised from the dead, not just because she sought the prophet, but because she guarded her words. She didn't declare death. She declared life. So today, choose your words wisely. Choose your words wisely. Speak like someone who expects resurrection. Speak like someone who knows they are walking in favor. Speak like someone whose miracle is already in motion. It's not coming one day, it's not gonna come, it's already in motion. So let me repeat that to you again. So today, choose your words wisely. Speak like someone who expects resurrection. Speak like someone who knows they are walking in favor. Speak like someone whose miracle is already in motion. That's how we speak, my friend. That is the language of faith. The language of faith is one that believes it is done. One that speaks as if it is done. I'll take it a step further for you as we finish this off. Take it a step further for you. In my life, what I've been learning how to do, and it has taken me a long time to learn how to do this, but I don't speak of anything as if it's in the future. And I will say to you, there are still times when I still make that mistake. But one thing that I have learned is that tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes. So as long as I say that something is coming tomorrow, it just never comes. It remains in tomorrow. It remains in tomorrow. And so I have been training myself and just shifting my language to speak in the present moment, to speak of circumstances and outcomes as if they are right now. Not tomorrow. Not somewhere in a distant future. It's now. That's all I have. All I have is now. So friends, as we finish off, we're about to step into a new month. We're stepping into the second half of the year, stepping into July. Now for some of us are still a bit frustrated. Some of us are still a bit uncertain. Some of us feel a little lost. But whatever that means to you and wherever you are, I want you to know that this year, this season can still be redeemed. This season can still be redeemed. I don't say this lightly. I do not say this lightly. You don't have to wait for a new year. Tomorrow is a new month. Tomorrow is a new month. And so what we're going to do is I'm inviting you to get into 3 days of fasting just to step into this new month, right? To start this new month and the second half of the year with 3 days of fasting. And listen, before you ask me how are we doing it, I don't want to tell you how to do it. You can do 6 to 6, or you can do a dry fast and just drink water, or you can do a liquid fast, or you can just pray about that. Pray about that and decide what it is that you want to do. But we're going to trust God for breakthrough. For many of us, I told you this yesterday, but for many of us, what we need to be asking for is strategy. We need to be asking God for strategy. We need to be asking God, what now? How do we move from here? What do I do from here? That's what we ought to be asking. And so we're getting into this tomorrow. And like I said, you can do it or you cannot do it. It's up to you. But I'd like to encourage you, my friend. Fasting for a believer is not optional. Fasting for a believer is not optional. It is not something that you do because you feel like it. It is not something that you do or don't do and everything remains the same. Listen, your life right now you might think to yourself, I haven't been fasting and my life has been okay. But I'm telling you now, you have no idea what it would be if you were spiritually aligned, if you allowed yourself to subdue the flesh and allow the spirit to take control. You would experience dimensions that you never have experienced before. So we're going to be doing this, and it is only fitting because the last 2 days of our 30 days of favor, the last 2 days is on gratitude. Right? The last 2 days is on gratitude. So some of what we spoke about here today, you can go back to that. Go back to what we spoke about today. Go back to some of the scriptures. Bring whatever area of your life it is that you are trusting God for strategy for. And I cannot help but just feel very strongly that for a lot of us, what we ought to be seeking, what we ought to be asking for is strategy beyond just being in right standing with God, beyond just wanting to grow spiritually, which we want. If you were to ask for anything, it is strategy. Strategy. God, show me what should happen now. Show me the way in which I should be moving. For some of us here tonight, it's a prayer that says, God, I don't have any more time to waste. You know my life. You've seen the years that I have wasted. God, you've seen the years that I have lost. I need a strategy that will give me that quantum leap. I need a strategy that will catapult me to the next dimension. I don't have the time for mistakes. I don't have the time for trial and error. I've made the mistakes. So starting right now, we're going into that fast. And we are welcoming the new month. Whatever that means for you, my friend, I want you to know I'm praying for you. I am praying for you. Get serious with God, though. Get serious with God. See what He will do for you. Get serious with Him. I'll be here to walk with you, but I'm only walking with you for an hour a day. But just go all in and see what will happen. So many great developments coming up, and I cannot wait to tell you all about that. But I'm so glad that you could join in tonight. I'm so glad that you were here tonight.